Barnerby Hubel came in from the rubble to buy a fine sack of grain, but all they did find was a softened behind from standing too long in the rain. And now I give you the ballad of Sir Barnerby Hubel. Barnerby Hubel came out of his cabby and paid him the fare. Walked into his house and climbed the stairs to soak his faded bones in a tub of lye. Pulled on the lines of Venetian blinds to protect him from repugnant glares of his 8 grandchildren, who called him on Sunday to wish him well in his fading health and bless him with the sweet love of their God, because in his will there was still a great quantity of wealth, and he knew that they would pray to get their mitts on the paper with a haggard script for the amount of £10 million. And his grandchildren plotted for next when he was spotted a clever way to place him in the ground. Barnerby stepped out of his robe and flung it over a rocking chair, breathed a fresh breath of potpourri air, and proceeded to exit for a stroll about town. As his grandchildren watched him leave and crept down the chimney, but the lodgers got stuck halfway up, so they left him and figured that he wouldn't be able, in his present condition, to take care of his share of the money, so they could cash in on a little something extra, buy him a present at Christmas time. The rest searched for the wine, pulled a red bottle to toast the generosity of their sibling who was still quibbling, so they left him a scribbling which informed them that if he didn't quiet down, they would stoke up a fire, which they eventually did. And as the fire grew higher, well, then the smokehood of the second one came too near, and it burst into flames. And to further their financial gains, the others proclaimed that if in fact his brother was able to survive, he would not wish to be left alive with such ugly scars that were made by a burn, and he returned to be disposed of. Which wasn't exactly true, but anyway, they pushed him into the fireplace, and 2 of the brothers vanished without a trace. Now Daniel was the wisest brother of them all. Standing nearly 6 foot tall, stroking his chin, he said with a grin, "I know how to make the old buggers knock and spin. At the bottom of his tub we'll place a very bright showing pin, and then when Grandpa climbs in, right in his seat, he'll get a nice treat, which will make him jump out of his skin. And he'll have a heart attack, bump his head, and if that's not enough to make sure he's dead, we'll place a scorpion under his bed and poisonous acid on the toilet seat, in case he gets willies and shits for a week." So Daniel sent them all off to acquire these things, knowing full well if he pulled the right strings, the others would bungle, and so he aspired that if they were disposed of or permanently retired, the entire sum would be entirely his, with entirely no one to share it with. And so he sat by, quietly drew on his pipe, when in rushed the 5th brother with a scorpion bite, and the 4th followed after with a serious gripe, and the other one had poisoned him too, just for spite. And the other returned, got thrown into the fight, and then the acid that they bought from the corner drugstore, well, it slipped from his hand and broke on the floor. And as all of them rode around, they rode in the acid they had spilt on the ground. And Daniel just sat by, quietly drew on his pipe. When at last they had thoroughly disposed of themselves, Daniel picked up what was left of their shells and threw them into the basement furnace, all for the sake of being earnest. And he trotted upstairs, took a very sharp pin and carefully placed it in the tub. Grandpa sat in, but just at that minute, while he was in it, Grandpa Barnerby Hubel slammed the front door, which startled him, causing him to dive through the window to avoid detection. But a small bit of glass got lodged in his ass and started a tetanus infection. And since the vaccine had not been invented yet, he so died of lockjaw. And if this ending was not suitable, ironic, or just plain awful, Barnerby hadn't even willed the money to his grandchildren, but spent it all at the local brothel.